Hi, it's Sally again. I'm glad you're back. I welcome you to my channel, my new channel, and my studio here. And I thought, I don't know if I told you when I was in my first video, but I'm working on some little golden book junk journals, and I'm almost completed with them. But I thought before I showed you that, I might show you just some of the journals that I've made. I've been making books for a long time, and I've been making junk journals, apparently. I didn't know they were called junk journals at first, but been making them since 2008, so 10 years. This was one of the first ones that I made, was this huge thing where I used a old Webster's Dictionary book, old Webster's Dictionary covers for the book. And then this is the back cover. And then look at this huge spine. This turned into a gargantuan book. I knew it was going to be pretty big because I wanted to use it to showcase some of the things that other artists have sent me over the years, and just little bits and pieces of papers and images and so forth. So that's what I wanted to use it for, and it just got bigger and bigger. So it first came about back in 2008 when two friends of mine, Doreen Mintock and Sharon Tomlinson, came to visit me in my studio. They stayed for the weekend, and we taught each other things. And one of the things that we dreamed up together was this book. And we decided that we would put on the spine this fabric, upholstery fabric, so that we could sew the signatures into that, really kind of tie them in so we could take them out and use the cover over again. Well, it didn't end up that way, but we spent that weekend making some, gathering together some pages, some journal pages, ledger pages, and all kinds of different papers to use as papers in our book, as pages in our book. So we got started that weekend, but we didn't, of course, finish it. Later on, I finished mine, and one of the things that we decided before the weekend was over was that the upholstery fabric was not going to be, it was going to be too flimsy. The book was going to really move around. It still moves around some, but we decided to use inside the, let me get to a middle of a signature here, or at the end of a signature, between signatures is what I want to show you. I don't know, can you see this? Looks like checkered, or not checked, but anyway, it's wire. It's called hardware wire. This is what it looks like. This is hardware wire. It's wire, little wire squares, and you get it in a big roll at like Home Depot or Lowe's or the hardware store. It comes in humongous rolls. You could go together with 10 people and have enough to make books for a long time. But we decided to put that wire, because it was pretty substantial, in on the back. Now, somebody did only the wire and didn't, I think that was Doreen, made one book later on with no fabric cover, just the wire. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things. Here's one that I started, pardon me for the reach, I started back then, and it's pretty flimsy because it doesn't have anything sewn in, but this was the cover of it. And then you can see on the spine, you can see the hardware. I just covered it up down the middle with some fabric and decorated ruler, etc. But anyway, so this was the cover of that book. And so you can kind of see how I could have left this decoration off the middle, and I would just have had the stuff on the spine. And when you do that, you can certainly camouflage it by, tying in these signatures with ribbon and making bows back here. In a sense, that's what I did with this one, although I didn't use the hardware spine, I just used the book. But I tied them in with sari silk ribbon and and they just bunched up here on the edge. So I'll show you that one in a minute. But I just wanted to show you, I'm sorry, I keep hitting the tripod. I'm so new at this. So I wanted to show you what this one looks like on the inside. Here's a little pocket. I just can't believe we were doing these things back in 2008. I don't know. I just, that was going to be my information in there. There's a little title page on the book, Art Happens. This is walnut ink paper and some gold powder over it. And see, we were sewing. Look at the stitches on this. We were sewing things in. I don't know. And here's a little couple of clowns that I drew and put on the back of that. This was a hand-dyed piece of fabric that I made in one of DJ Pettit's workshops. Here is some what I call yummy Braillard paper, y'all. This is made from a grocery sack, and it's got acrylic ink and webbing spray and all sorts of blingy inclusions, sequins and beads and all sorts of things. So it's really textural and really cool. I love that paper. Here's just a couple of pictures of, this is a picture of a 4x4. We called them fat books back then. They were swaps, and you made enough pages for everybody in the swap to have your page in their book. And this is an actual page. This is the page. It's not a picture of it. And it was the birds, Blackbird's book. Oh, and here's a piece that I plan to put on here. Probably cut those white things off. But at any rate, this was an image that I did. Actually, I did this for a swap in a book. But then I took a picture of it because I used it in a CD that was a swap to swap some music with each other, and we all designed our cover for the CD, and I used that image. But anyway, this is paper and some extra ribbon sewn on, and these were some, I'm going to put these in here apparently. These are some Christmas, that's a Christmas card I made. This was the original, and then I did prints of them and sent those out one year. So it has also some places to put other things and to write, to journal, and apparently I was going to use these. This is one of the stickers that I used on the music CD for that swap. Here's this was a t-shirt transfer done onto deli paper. And a little paper doll I made. That's on tissue paper. See, we put all kinds of paper in here. And there's the other side of that blingy, yummy Braillard paper, I call it. And then the other side of the fabric I dyed. And here's, this was just a, you know how you use your trash pages? You put a page down and you paint all over your project, and when you get through, you have junk. Well, I had this junk and I saw a face in it, so I finished it off and put it in here. Here's a napkin. I just can't believe we were using text and napkins and sewing. Amazing. A lot of these things, that was the end of the first signature, and here you can see the hardware cloth in the middle. Sometimes I tie in other things or just ribbons so that you don't see that, but not in this book. This was handmade paper. That was a artist trading card I got from someone. Here is a birthday card I got from my friend Doreen. Now the card itself, the artwork was by Robin Marie Smith, but Doreen took me. And one of the things I do is if I want to be able to take the card out and look at the back, which I certainly wanted to do in this case, I didn't want to glue it down, I use photo corners to keep the piece in, and then you can take it in and out as you want to. Paint it around it. These were some of her Moo cards. If you don't know what Moo cards are, they were some cards we used to use. They're little pieces from artwork that we had done. This was Doreen's artwork, and they're like little calling cards or business cards. And this was just a piece that I liked that I found in one of my card boxes. This is wallpaper. Here was just a little card that I got somehow or other with a tag. I think this was from I don't know. I don't remember. It was 10 years ago. Give me a break. This one was from Sarah Fishburne, I do believe. Yes, a postcard that she made for me. I love that. And the little booklet's put in with brads and then just closes with this string closure. This was mail art. We were big into mail art around that time, and I had a group of people that just exchanged mail art. This is Sharon Tomlinson's envelope, well, the first half of it to me, and the other half we'll see in a minute. She made some good. This is Sharon's picture of Sharon's work. This was another guy that I liked, Theo Ellsworth. I just loved his detailed little fun pictures, and I learned about him through Tisha Moore. And then this was one of my favorite mixed media artists, Claudia Roller, and she sent me this little trading card, and I just loved the front of this. It was just my first go-round at mixed media junk, and this was the postcard she sent. Oh, you couldn't see that, could you? That was the postcard, the back of the postcard. Okay, and then Greg Spalinka is one of my professional artists that I like. And he sent me a little card. This is one of his works. Well, picture of it, obviously. And I used, what do you call it? Tape. I'll think of it in a minute. That's video amnesia. You have amnesia when you're doing a video. Duct tape, that's what it is. Jesse Reno is one of my very favorite artists. Some of you I know have done workshops with him in California. There's another Greg Spalinka. This little piece I haven't put in yet, but it was artist stamps by a friend of mine, Adriana Hawks. And here's some wallpaper. Here's one of Duren's business cards. One of their advertisements. Duren and Sharon did a workshop, and it's still available from time to time online, an online workshop. And it's awesome making these jewelry pieces. And this is a little fabric pocket and some cards I got from someone that I ordered something from. Little thank you cards. Apparently, oh yes, I was going to stick that on there. This is some handmade paper that I actually made with yarn pieces in it, yarn inclusions. There's another Jesse Reno. Look at this. We put a old ledger page in. This is a fabric postcard that was actually sent to me in the mail by a quilter friend of mine. She's actually an art historian, but by trade, but she quilts also. And this was just one of my illustration artists that I love, professional artists. This was this is a little picture of a card by Duren. She always did the most lovely little mixed media pieces. And that's transparent pocket there on that sheet. Then this was some angels that I painted in watercolor, just on a junk piece of paper, and I stitched a paper towel over the end of it, made a pocket out of it on this side. These are bookmarks that I made for our First Christian Church art exhibit, and showed pictures, some of the pictures that were in the exhibit. This is more mail. I know this is a large, huge book, and I don't want to spend forever on it, but this was more mail art. This is a postcard from an artist friend. Let me see. Oh, no, it wasn't. This was from, oh, yes, it was. This one is by Stephanie Rubiano. Then this was a card that was sent to me given to me by my friend. It was sent to her from her friends, and she knew I collected postage stamps, so she gave me that card. Thought it was awesome. And here's a little card done by Sarah Fishburne, and here's a metal plate piece with fabric, quilted fabric on it, and an image that was done by Kathy Waslewski. Mrs. Was, some of you know her by. And this was just the back of a decorated paper bag and grocery bag, and I put this little fabric pocket in with a little gold-tipped feather. I don't know if you can see the bling on it, but anyway, it's gold-tipped. And there's the other end of that envelope. And another Jesse Reno rubber stamp. This is another piece, one of my favorite pieces that Bedouin did back then. This was from a girl in the university here in town. This is just a piece of fabric, Indian fabric that I had. Put the little piece on the edge there. Jesse Reno, more of my illustration guys. And a piece from the Byzantine icons. This was an advertisement for a teacher who taught painting icons. The other end of that paper, here was a little, I got this little friendship cup from a swap that I was in. And this is more mail art sent to me from Sharon Tomlinson. She does the greatest mail art. Look at this piece. And this is a little bitty envelope with stamps and stamping and a little tag that was made by Sharon. On the front it says, "I was having fun." And I put it in this little envelope. More wallpaper sample. This is by Diane Cook, Rosa and Josie's. From Rosa and Josie's. You guys know her probably. She's a wonderful jewelry artist. But she was doing mixed media back then too. This is one of my friends that does rubber stamping, and she made these little postage stamps. And this was Jesse Reno's girlfriend at the time. Don't know if he married her or she's not his girlfriend anymore or what. This was from Sarah Fishburne. I loved this little cabinet card, and she covered it with mica and put something for Sally on there. And there's another side of this envelope with a little piece, I think, by Stephanie. Some of his words were not Sunday school words. No, that was from Sue Berry. Sue Berry, I had loaned her some tags, and she was thanking me for it. And this is mail from Barb Dunbar. This was just a piece from mail that I got in the mail. And there's the other end of Sharon's envelope. This was a wonderful artist I knew back when we were doing all these swaps. It was Kim Logan, and I always adored her work. This is a artist trading card that she did. I put black lace on this page as well as no, that's not duct tape, that's painted paper and on wallpaper. This is a piece from Michaelopoulos in New Orleans. He's a professional artist there. And this is a friend of mine, Pilar Pollock, did this huge postcard. It was beautiful. Loved it. And then just decorative designer paper and paper that I purchased. More mail art. Just a page to put things on. Pages. So I've still got a lot of room in this to add some of my things from people. This was from Tisha Moore. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. And fabric on the edge with a little loop for my paintbrush in case I wanted to paint in here. This was a blueprint page that I sewed this image on so that it's like a little sewn collage. And then this was a piece of mail art. Isn't that awesome? That was just awesome. It's a place I could tuck something. This was from Jill Jones. These are just some art tags that I could write on. This was by my friend Trinell Barham, Pressed Flowers. Way, years ago. This was one of Tisha Moore's pieces, a picture of it, photo of it. This is one of Tisha Moore's, DJ Pettit. And this is DJ Pettit's. I took a workshop from her, and I got this little piece of image on organdy or organza cloth. And I sewed the little flowers on. I was real proud of sewing those. I don't know if you can see those. I gotta show them to you though. You can see those little ribbon flowers there. And let me move this book out of the way. There we go. And let's see. Just junk pages. See, we just put junk pages in. This was another piece from Sharon. Sharon was really great at doing faces, and I'm sure she still is. Haven't seen Sharon in a while. This was just some junk paper I had. This was a little photo envelope that I got, and this is a little envelope made from a doily. And this was a little place to put moo cards, so I put moo in. I stitched the word moo on there, and then I put a little flap. This was an envelope, and I put the stamps here too. And so I had just a perfect little place for little extra moo cards that I got in the mail. These are from different people, different artists. So anything I got in the mail from people, I just loved putting in here. And so then there's just some decorated paper and some undecorated paper, some places to put things in the back. I'll be filling it up and putting things as folds out. And there's the other end of the blueprint. So I just had fun. Here's a little cloth doily that I put in there, and watercolor paper, a postcard by two local artists that had a show together, two of my friends. And this was just some mail art. I put a piece of one of my fat book pages in here. I don't remember who this was from, nor do I remember who this was from. It might have been Pilar, but then it might not have been either. I don't know who that was. I loved that. Here's a little card from Greg Spalinka. This was a little get well card from Lou McCullough. I appreciated that. This is a fella that does postage stamps. And what he does is he matches real postage stamps. So the real postage stamp is on the bottom here. I'm not even in where you can see it. Here. Oh, great, Sally. The real postage stamp is down here. He put it upside down, and there's his to match it. But do you remember this little angel image on the stamp? And he put the body. He made a stamp with the body on it. I thought that was precious. Then I just have junk pages in here to dropped something. Must have been the stone out of my ring, huh? And music paper. And here was a piece that Sharon worked with us on that weekend and taught us to do some faces and some napkin art and painting, and that was a lot of fun. And I just think I have just more pages and more. This was an image on mail from Sharon. And if you can see that this is a face right here. Two eyes, nose comes down like this, and a little fat lips. And then great big hair with ringlets coming down. And she says, sometimes I get the big head. She has a great sense of humor. And let's see what else. That's just the other end of that. And then in the end of the book, I tied in. You see, there's a place where I tied in with crochet ribbon or some kind of just yarn or whatever. I tied in this padded envelope, and so I keep the things that I'm collecting to put in this book right in here. So that's where that was very comfortable. And the inside of this book was an old marbled sheet. I just left that like it was because I loved it. This is what the cover looked like, both covers, front and back. And the spine again with buttons. Look how, I don't know, I wonder how big that spine is. Let's check it out. It's a 4-inch spine. It's probably one of the biggest ones I've ever done. Okay, so there's that book. And then let's take a quick look at this one. This one is pretty short. This is a little thin book. I think, this is the size of those little sketchbooks, the big sketchbooks that you can get at the bookstores and so forth that were black. This one was black. I don't think it was a sketchbook. I was looking at the inside. I think it was just some other book. But anyway, I used gesso and dripping paint acrylic on the front and back cover. And then as I said, on this one for the spine, after I took the book pages, the original book pages out, I put eyelets, 2 eyelets up, all the way up. and then you'll see how I tied the signatures in. I'll show you in a minute. Cover's just a padded piece with fabric and so forth. The inside cover is fabric, upholstery fabrics, different ones in lace, and then this image with the bird picture that I found in a magazine, I think. This is a paper towel with a little piece on it. This was watercolor paper with gesso on it and rub-ons on the corner. Let's see how we're doing in frame. And this is just some, you know, decorated paper. Here's a little lace on the edge. And this is just so similar to what we do now that I just can't get over having done it then. This is a little picture that's covered over with organza fabric. This was handmade paper I did in the DJ Pettit workshop. Here's another little photograph that I took of this lovely animal. And this page has a tab that's made from, you know, the cleaner's tabs that you get when you get your clothes cleaned, and has a little dangle hanging from a garment pin here. And then here's a little rusted safety pin, and this is a piece from manila folder that was sent to me in the mail. That's where you rip it open, you know. I just used that. There was a picture of a piece that I did in someone's journal. And then this page is got a little envelope on it. This is like a half page. It's got a little envelope on it, and it has a little decorated playing card in there. And then on the other side is another little playing card. And then just a little piece on this, little collaged piece sewn in on this. Rubber stamps and stenciling on this page. This is a rub-on this tablet sheet, and a rusted doily. This was a gessoed green bag, just a bag. And here's a little, this was a paint color chip, and I covered the colors with the washi tape, and then put a little stone down here and a little picture of two girls on the picture on the back. And that's just a little bookmark. And there's a little birdie that I just attached on this side. This picture of an angel, and I just did all sorts of paper and lace, and this little bottle cap that says rock and roll on the inside. And then these are gessoed envelopes that are opened out with little pieces attached to them, sewn to get sewn on. See, this is where the sari tape, this is the middle of the signature, and that's where the sari ribbon, not tape, the sari silk ribbon was put through to tie all the way back through to the spine. So that's how the signatures were put in. You can probably see between these pieces of ribbon, the signature was first, I sewed all the way down the middle of the signature so it would go nowhere, and then I tied it in so I could have some ribbon on the spine. Lovely little tab sewn on. Fabric flip piece. Just some paper, just the pages to write on. This has a little card in it you can write on if you want to. I'll probably put pictures on it. I don't know. We'll see. Something else must be in there. There's a picture that I had published in a magazine. Picture of a piece that I sent. It was mail art. And the other end of that tablet, here's a little postcard that I altered and put the raggedy edge on the page and a little duct tape tab with a button on it, and another little place to tuck this postcard. And this is a little clear pocket that I could put this cigarette card, I think it is, in it, an old vintage card, and a stamp and stamps. This was a postcard that I altered. I mean, not a postcard, a photograph, a shiny photograph that I altered. And just then some little doodads on the edge of this page, and a drawing I did on it, and I don't know, just places to put things. Here's three little different kinds of tags that I did. I always say do something on the back of the tag, because no matter what, You do the front and it's gorgeous, but people are going to go, let's see, oh, nothing back there. And this was a patch that was made by Tisha Moore. This was just another watercolor page with gesso. And this was the other end of that paper towel. Little piece of an anatomy card from an anatomy card box. Just decorated. This is a little pin that says love. It's a blingy thing. It's really neat. And just with upholstery fabric on the edge of the page and stenciling. And then this was done with a napkin. This was the napkin, and this was a piece of it done on text paper edged with gold. And then this page was stenciled, and then I put the excuse me, put the napkin on it. This is a cute little dangle. It's just a little piece of lace in a dangle. I thought that was neat. Now this starts a little section of of rusted things. My husband laughs at me because I have a rust farm out in the back. It's actually a big pan, a big cookie sheet like pan that has washers and paper clips and anything that I can find that's metal that'll rust in it, and it just sits out there on the deck forever, and it rains on it and all that, and so they get real rusty. And then I go out there, and if I want to rust lace, I can put the lace down in it and get it rusty, or paper, I can rust paper, and it's just lots of fun. Here's a paper towel I rusted. Isn't that the coolest thing? And that's a little doily that I sewed on. And this is an envelope, just an envelope with a postcard in it. And this is, I like to take little strips of text out of a romance novel or something. And this one says, her great aunt told her the story, and the aunt said that nobody knew all of it. I thought that was intriguing. And then this is just a little page. This is a painting I did on newsprint. This is tempera paint, and then I just decorated it. More little places. There's a rusted envelope. There's a little envelope with one of those t-shirt transfers on it, and fabric on the flap, and then just a little card inside. It's not. This was a picture I drew on there, a copy of something, I'm sure. This is a lace piece. A little dangle, little pearl dangle on it. Fabric. This was a really heavily dyed coffee dyed paper with lots of gold powders in it, and it just was just an awesome piece. I loved it. And this is a transparency of this little girl over here on this side. And there is a saying on here. It says, children's children are a crown to the aged. Thought that was really pretty. Here's a little strip of lace, little metal clip. Other end of that envelope. This is a picture of a little encaustic painting I did of this big old bird. Or a little bitty bird, whatever. More lace on this rusted envelope. This is a little file folder to put things in. This was the back of the painted newsprint. This is the back of it, and I put tissue paper, wadded tissue paper, and painted it over with gesso, and sewed this little pocket of real leaves in the paper that I bought, that decorative paper. And this is a piece of bark off of one of my trees outside, and a little sticker that says treasures in gold. And just junk on the edges here. The rest of my, this is some painting I do with rubber stamp ink. I use a brayer and I spray the brayer after I put the ink on it, and then it makes it real watery. This is an embossed card, library card, and more of the rusted paper towel. This was a transfer of this little baby on this picture. And here's, this is a K & Company card, a little piece of lace stapled to it. And it has a little dangle, a couple of little dangles over here. And it says, please write all the really important stuff here. And this was gesso transfers, where you stick the paper down, the image down on gesso and let it transfer. This was another kind of paper transfer on the tab there. And this is just a library card, made a pocket out of a map. These are strips of yummy brayered paper and scrapbook paper. Here is a peacock feather in this little fabric, can you see that? In this little fabric pocket. Put the peacock feather in there, and then there's this little booklet. I think it's a card. I think it's an envelope. I didn't remember. It's heavily done with walnut ink, actually, and coffee dyeing. And then there's just a little card in here. See possibility everywhere. And there's a card from the Huntsville Antique Show that happens here every September. And that goes right in there. And then on the end page inside the back cover is this envelope. It has a little metal tab and piece of fabric on it. Some sewing. It's a little envelope. It was just a kind of a papery envelope that I did this collage on, and then here's a little collage I sewed on. And when I sewed the things on, this came out. I thought it looked like a pineapple. I liked that. I never did finish anything on the back of it, but I still got it in here. So that was just by way of showing you some of the things that we did 10 years ago, and how, you know, some of those things are still around today. Some of the things we thought we invented, but I guess we didn't. My next video will show this little book. I wanted to show you this one. I really adore this book, and this was done with hardware cloth as the spine, and everything's just tied into it. And this wasn't a book that I put this twirly adornment on the front. But I'll show you that in the next video if you're interested in seeing it. I thank you for hanging around so long and looking at my old things. And I'll see you later. Bye.